Hey folks, this is Kalani. It seems like one of the best received features in patch 8.3 is the addition of the horrific visions. You can hop in with a group of 5 or just run them solo, and I think that's one of the exciting parts of this content. Difficult solo content that you can progress through at your own pace is something we haven't seen too much of in World of Warcraft, especially in this latest expansion. For Legion we had the Mage Towers, which is still arguably one of the best features to have been introduced at all. I still hear people say how great it was and they wish they did more classes and got more of the artifact appearances. While we might not get anything super special like a unique transmog from Visions, they do scratch that solo progression itch that many players seem to have. We've gotten to the point where people are starting to knock out every objective and kill the main boss too for a full clear of a vision, but the system doesn't stop there. If you've managed to get a full clear in, you should have been introduced to the mask system at least a little bit. Masks increase the difficulty of horrific visions quite considerably, and they provide you with extra rewards as you add more masks to your run. Let's break down how you can get each mask, what they do, why you might want to run with them in the first place, and what rewards you can collect along the way. There are 5 masks in total that you can collect, and they each have their own little negative spin you'll have to deal with if you decide to turn them on. You can have all 5 masks active at once and have all of the effects stack, so there's definitely a lot of difficulty you can add onto this system after you clear the objectives at first. With the unique negative effect, each mask will also increase the damage and health of all monsters by 25% in the vision, so it's going to take longer to kill everything and it will be considerably more dangerous for you as you start to add masks onto your visions. At 5 masks you'll have to be very careful and it's going to take a long time to get through the vision, so you'll have to play perfectly. I don't think we'll be able to full clear with 5 masks until we fully upgrade the cloak to get the most out of that sanity drain reduction, but I know some people have already full cleared with 1 mask active, so it's definitely doable if you're geared and you have some of the good corruption effects. The main benefit for activating masks is that each one also increases the amount of corrupted mementos that you get in the vision. This is how we're going to farm mementos for the various goodies that Rathian has on offer, and to fill out the entire archive tree. The more masks you enable, the more mementos you will get, the faster you can unlock more points, and the better you will do in future visions, so the more mementos you can get, and the more masks you can enable, and it just goes round and round. It's a bit of a snowball effect, and it ends with us farming sockets for our gear. If you haven't looked at Rathian's wares recently, remember that he offers an item which can add a socket to almost any piece of gear of your choice, so corrupted mementos are definitely going to be valuable moving forward. It doesn't matter if a perfect piece of gear has a socket anymore, because you will be able to add one yourself when you get enough mementos. The fastest way to get mementos is to use the masks and clear a vision, so knowing about the masks and how they work is going to help you out a lot. Each mask comes from a very specific objective. As we mentioned earlier, the first mask that you'll be able to get your hands on comes from a full clear of either the horrific vision of Orgrimmar or the horrific vision of Stormwind. It doesn't really matter which one you do, the first time you full clear any of the visions you will get a mask in your big box at the end. To get any other masks you'll actually need to have a mask enabled, so this will be the mask you use to unlock your next one regardless of what order you decide to pick them up in. When you equip this mask for a run you'll have 50% less max sanity, so without any modifiers you'll only have 500 sanity to work with at all times during your vision. That's definitely not ideal to say the least, and essentially just cuts your working time in half. Half the sanity is just half the time limit really, which makes this one of the harder masks to actually deal with. It's a bit strange that it's the first one you get, but oh well, as soon as you pick up some other masks you can ignore this one for the most part. The other 4 masks come from clearing the lost objectives with a mask active, so just in case you were thinking this might end up being complicated, it's really not. It's also kind of boring in my opinion. These masks sounded like they were going to be hidden or secret, or maybe a little bit weird to acquire. You'd have to do very specific things in a specific vision at a specific time, or maybe something cool, but all you have to do is clear a lost objective with one other mask active. It can be any mask, so it's probably smart to pick up one of the easier ones and you'll collect every mask in no time. For the first time, you will need to use the annoying 50% less sanity mask, but every other mask is easier to use, so it's just the first one that might be a pain. If you have the Stormwind Horrific Vision, you need to complete the Old Town or the Mage Quarter objectives with a mask, and if you have the Ogrimmar Vision, it's the Valley of Honor or Valley of Wisdom objectives. Completing the Old Town objective with a mask active will give you the Mask of the Pained. Alongside the 25% extra damage and health buff, this mask will also cause each area to afflict you with 2 madness effects instead of just the usual 1. So instead of having just Bloodthirsty, you can have Bloodthirsty and Promised Power in the first areas, or Split Personality and Leaden Foot in the lost areas. It can get out of control sometimes, but honestly, having to stay still to reset Leaden Foot and having to stay still for Split Personality kind of works together anyway. It's certainly way better than running around with half the max sanity for an entire run at any rate. This definitely seems like one of the easier masks to put on, but honestly the others aren't too bad either. Completing the Mage Quarter objective with the mask active will give you the Mask of Dark Imagination. While this mask is active, you'll get the 25% monster damage and health buff as per usual, but you will also start spawning random void ads when you get below 50% sanity. Again, this one isn't too bad. The ads only spawn once every 60 to 90 seconds apparently, so not all too often, and only when you're below that sanity threshold. That means you can actually control when you reset the mechanic by popping an orb, or know when to expect the effect at least, because you can track your own sanity. It's an effect that shouldn't bother you all too much if you're careful with sanity, so a full clear with this mask shouldn't be too hard at all, or at least not much harder than a full clear normally. We have the Stormwind Vision for one more day when this video goes up, so if you're watching this on Monday, you still have time to get these 2 masks before it ticks over to Ogrimmar. If you don't get them this week, you'll have to wait until it flips back to the Stormwind Vision to grab them, and if you're able to full clear right now, you should be able to get both masks. You don't have to kill the main boss, you don't have to do a full clear, all you have to do is get the individual objectives with a mask active. It's a lot easier than it might look. Honestly, the hardest part is getting that first mask, and then using that first mask to get another one, and after that it's a breeze, because the other masks are a lot easier to use, and getting one lost objective done with one mask active is a lot easier than a full clear. Now when the Ogrimmar Vision comes around, we can get the other 2 masks. Completing the Valley of Wisdom with a mask active will earn you the Mask of the Burned Bridge. With this mask active, you leave void puddles on the floor behind wherever you move. These puddles will drain sanity if you stand in them, so this one is a bit weird. If you don't ever have to backtrack or run around in circles, it almost does nothing, but if you find yourself in a pinch and run around like a headless chicken, your sanity is going to go down the drain very quickly. When you know your path and how you want to tackle a vision, and know when you can stand still, this should be a really easy mask to use. The last mask comes from the Valley of Honor, and remember, you need to have at least one mask turned on while you finish these objectives to earn the extra masks. This objective will give you the Mask of the Daredevil, which increases all sanity damage that monsters do by 400%. So you know the big guy in the Mage Quarter who drains your sanity with literally every ability he uses? All of that sanity drain will be increased by 400%, assuming you stand in his abilities. This might be the second hardest mask to use alongside the 50% sanity one, and it's going to be a real pain in the rear when you combine them together, so this would be one of the later ones to add onto your list, I guess. So when does it become worth using a mask in your horrific visions? Probably as soon as you can full clear with an orb left over, and when you get the last point in the Titan Archive tree. The Gift of the Titans gives you a chance to get a massive haste and movement speed buff, and to completely pause your sanity loss for 20 seconds whenever you kill an enemy in a vision. Literally any mob can trigger this insane buff, so the more you kill monsters, the more chances you have of activating it, and the sanity pause is for everything. You don't take any sanity loss from the ticking area, you don't take any sanity loss from standing in bad stuff or getting hit by the massive beams and whatnot. 100% sanity protection for 20 seconds. It might not sound all that great, but when we were running visions after picking up this single talent point, before and after, we could clear 2 areas without using an orb. That's absolutely insane to me. This one point is worth so much, so I probably wouldn't try full clearing with a mask on before you get this last talent point. But after that, you're all good to go. Every mask you put on gives you 20% extra corrupted mementos, so there's that to look forward to, but when you full clear with masks, each one that you have enabled will increase the item level of the piece of loot you get at the end by 5. So typically we can get a 445 piece of gear for a full clear once per week, but if you do that with a mask on, you can get a 450 piece of gear as well. If you do 2 masks, it's 455, 3 masks will get you 460 gear, 4 masks is 465 gear, and if you manage to full clear with all 5 masks turned on, you can get an item level 470 piece of gear. That's just 5 item levels below mythic raid loot, so eventually horrific visions will be an incredible source of loot because you're guaranteed one of these items each week if you complete the requirements. You can also get each reward once per week, so you can get a 470, 465 and a 460 piece of gear in a single week just from horrific visions if you can clear them enough. That's a lot of loot that you don't even have to roll for, it's guaranteed, but full clearing with 5 masks is still a ways away, I would think. But that's the beauty of it. You can add more masks as you get better and get better gear and upgrade your cloak and just progress through the entire system. Getting all 5 masks is going to be relatively easy, but equipping all 5 of them at once is going to be so deadly. So work your way through it slowly, enjoy the extra corrupted mementos, save up enough to unlock every point in the Titan archive, and then you can start buying sockets for your gear. I love that the horrific vision system has some difficulty that you can tweak after full clearing. If it was just full clearing as it is, it would get kinda boring after we managed that, I would think. But we can hop back in time and time again and work towards a different part of character progression with the purchasable sockets. I think they did a great job with this feature as a whole. The only downside is the limited tries. What do you think of the extra difficulty that masks have to offer? Have you managed to collect any masks so far, or are you still working on that initial full clear? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.